Ice rink evacuated. We have what's new in the investigation into a carbon monoxide leak that sent 3 to the hospital. Plus, how you can avoid something like this in your home this winter.
Out-of-school quarantine has the unintended consequence of reducing in-school learning.
The state announces new guidelines to keep kids in school even if they're exposed to COVID.
And one step closer, Moderna says its vaccine is safe for kids. Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, breaks down what parents need to know.
The results are in. America's favorite Halloween candy is, well, surprising. The answer none of us expected and what Mike Polk Jr. thinks about it.
He gets that audience who has no idea who he is and grabs them, and that very moment, he's got Cleveland in the palm of his hands.
Bruce Springsteen's incredible career has deep Cleveland roots. I sit down with a rock and roll photographer whose new book chronicles the love affair between the boss and the city of Cleveland.
Then, Leon Bibb is celebrating 50 years in TV. Join us as we take a look at some of his biggest stories. What's New starts right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Wow, 50 years doing anything. That is to be celebrated, and I'm looking forward to doing that later in the show. Leon Bibb is a Cleveland and a broadcast institution. What an incredible career. And with that, we say hello again and welcome to another edition of What's New. This is incredible. This is the final Monday of October.
That's it.
It's just gone. I don't know how that's possible, but thank you so much for spending time with us. Betsy is off today. Jasmine Monroe is in her place. Jasmine, a very good Monday afternoon to you. It's lovely to have you in. We're looking forward to doing the show with you. And a very good Monday afternoon to everyone watching at home.
I'm glad to be here. Can I stay awake the whole show?
That is the big question. I was just asking her normally on her morning shift. She wakes up for work at 1 a.m.
Yes.
So normally by now you're eating and just getting ready to go sleep.
And I'm watching my favorite show, What's New.
Wow, that's awesome. What a compliment. We hope to keep you awake for the next hour. That's our goal. Well, we begin today at 5 with new information about a carbon...
And now to your feed at 5, the Ohio Department of Health updated the COVID-19 quarantine guidance for schools aimed at keeping students in the classroom. Now, with masks to stay, students and staff who are exposed to the virus do not need to quarantine at home as long as they wear a mask for 14 days, monitor for symptoms, and get tested if they develop symptoms. Now, as for school activities, students will need to wear a mask before they're able and can get tested. If quarantined, they are negative between days 5 and 7. The state says while quarantine is essential to fighting COVID-19, students need to be in school.
But out-of-school quarantine has the unintended consequence of reducing in-school learning and can place added strains on our students, our parents, schools, and our local health departments.
Schools are not required to adopt the new policy. This does not impact students who are already consistently wearing masks in school and those who are fully vaccinated, as they are already allowed to stay in the classroom after exposure.
Well, that news comes as Moderna says its low-dose COVID vaccine is safe for kids 6 to 11. The kids were given half the dose adults received.
Our senior health correspondent, Monica Robbins, joins us now. Monica, what did the study show?
Oh, good news. That's what's really important. So Moderna says its vaccine for kids age 6 through 11 showed a robust immune response. So the company says they're going to submit their data to the FDA soon, but gave no definitive date. Now, their study of more than 4,500 kids used the 2-dose vaccine regimen, but the dosage was half of what teens and adults get. They say the majority of the adverse events were mild to moderate, and the most common side effects were fatigue, headache, fever, and injection site pain. So that's pretty much the same thing as adults. Now, remember, though, Moderna is still behind Pfizer on this. The FDA and CDC still have not signed off on their vaccine for kids 12 to 17, and Johnson & Johnson likely won't have anything for kids until probably sometime next year.
All right, as for Pfizer, we think that approval for kids could be coming any day now, right?
Yeah, it could be, absolutely. So tomorrow, the FDA advisory panel is going to meet to discuss Pfizer's vaccine regimen for kids age 5 to 11. Now, there is a chance Their decision could come down late tomorrow, but that's just the first step. That decision is a recommendation for or against, and then the FDA will have to make an official decision. But usually they follow the panel's suggestions. Then next week, the CDC panel will meet in a similar process. So if this gets signed off, the earliest it's going to happen is mid to late next week. And obviously the Biden administration thinks it's very likely it will, because they've already bought the kid doses for the Pfizer vaccine.
They're ready to go. And the good news is it would get them some level of immunity before we get into our holiday season, which is a big concern.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, that CO story really got to me. And I think it's really important, considering we're going into the holidays and going into the winter. I turn my heat on. Everybody, if you don't have a CO detector, please get one, or at least make sure yours is in working order.
Particularly important when you fire up that furnace for the first time.
Absolutely.
Monica, thanks.
Sure.
Just ready to get those packages out as soon as possible. All right, this is an interesting one. There is a $5 million class action lawsuit against Kellogg's. The reason: a woman in the Southern District of Illinois argues that the company misled consumers with how it promoted Pop-Tarts with strawberry filling. Now, she claims it gave an impression that the fruit filling contained, quote, a greater relative and absolute amount of strawberries than it does, end quote. The nutritional label says that the pastry contains 2% or less of dried strawberries, pears, apple, and red 40. In the lawsuit, the woman says she would not have bought the Pop-Tarts if she knew the truth.
I'm going to classify that under frivolous lawsuit. What do you think about that?
Okay, so we were just talking to our producer, Monique, and I was saying, listen, when I was in college, I don't eat beef and I don't eat pork, and I learned that Pop-Tarts have beef in it because it's gelatin.
Wow.
So I had no idea that, the marshmallows, that's all gelatin, and it's a form of beef. So just knowing that, I stopped eating Pop-Tarts. But now hearing this, did you really think strawberries were in Pop-Tarts?
Yeah, I think the average consumer probably understands that there's something else going on there other than real strawberries.
Right.
But you never know, and we can be a litigious society, and I think this is more proof of that.
Yeah, I'm going to go buy Pop-Tarts for that. I feel bad for them.
Well, you know what it did for me is make me hungry for Pop-Tarts.
It did.
So I think it's probably had the adverse effect. Okay, next on What's New, a snapshot in time. I sit down with a rock and roll photographer to talk about her new book on Bruce Springsteen and his deep connection to our city.
Plus, remembering a friend, the man who played Gunther on the sitcom Friends passed away this weekend. More on how he is being honored in your Pop Break. Matt, what's coming up in the forecast?
Well, Jasmine, it's a good night to have a hot glass of some Red 40.
Welcome back to What's New. The click of a camera freezes a moment in time. It really does. And for those of you who find pictures as fascinating as I do, this is for you. Jasmine, I had a chance recently to sit down with an iconic rock and roll photographer. Her name is Janet McCoskey. She has a new book out entitled Bruce Springsteen, Live from the Heartland. And this book chronicles, mostly through Janet's images, his many live shows here in Northeast Ohio and the mutual love affair between Bruce and the people of Cleveland.
And to send it back out.
That's my favorite picture. By the way, Janet is just an incredible person and so talented. The text in the book was written by Peter Chakarian, and it's amazing the detail. He researched and got the set list of every show he's played that was featured in the book. And Janet, I love this photo so much.
That's
and I told her this was my favorite one. She was kind enough to sign it, the print, and send it over to me. Janet, thank you very much. It's soon going in a frame, and I'll cherish it. She's only met Bruce one time.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did she ever meet him? But she has over 300,000 photos of him.
So many images. She met him once. She said he was very quiet, as she expected. She did the project because during COVID, there were no shows.
Wow.
So an agent reached out to her and said, do you have photos of one artist that you'd like to feature? And that led to the book. It's fabulous. Any rock and roll fan, or particularly Bruce fans, check it out. It's really, really cool.
All right.
Very cool. Okay, it's time for weather, and Matt, your weather word today is boss. See what I did there?
That makes sense. I actually saw this one coming.
Yeah, that was easy.
It was also in the prompter a little ahead of time, so that's okay. For certain, we'll get that in, guys. We've got a live shot. See you.
It's time now to take a pop break with Kiera Cotton.
Kiara, happy Monday to you. It's been a rough couple of days for the entertainment world.
Absolutely. We can't seem to catch a break. The entertainment industry is again mourning the loss of another star. James Michael Tyler passed away yesterday morning after a battle with cancer. He was diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer back in 2018, but had only been public with his illness since mid-June. Tyler was most widely known for his role as Gunther on the NBC sitcom Friends. James Michael Tyler was 59 years old. And we're continuing to learn more about the fatal shooting that took place on a movie set in New Mexico last week. 42-year-old Helena Hutchins was killed when she was struck by a prop gun that was fired by actor Alec Baldwin. Baldwin was allegedly unaware that the gun contained a live round that was missed by additional checks, according to reports. The Emmy Award-winning actor was practicing drawing the gun from his holster when it fired. According to reports, the gun was used recreationally by crew members for target practice off-site prior to the incident. Production on the movie set has been paused indefinitely, and we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn more about this story. Switching gears now, SOS. This next story will have you burning up. The Jonas Brothers are hoping to bring the funny to Netflix. The three brothers, Nick, Joe, and Kevin, will star in a new one-hour comedy special for the streaming giant titled Jonas Brothers Family Roast. Hosted by Kenan Thompson, the brothers, through sketches, songs, games, and special guests, will share their best digs at their siblings for all of us to watch. Jonas Brothers Family Roast will premiere on Netflix November 23rd. You know, Jay and Jasmine, only family can get under your skin. So I know that this will make for fantastic television.
That's right. Brothers roasting each other, even, you know, me and my brother and sister, when we get into it, it's real.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is real and it's nonstop. And roasts are fun for everyone except for those getting roasted.
Of
that
course.
can get a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
This family knows how to have a good time.
They do. And they're funny. They're very talented. They really are. Key, thanks.
Sure thing.
Appreciate it. Well, all right, now it's time for our Worth the Watch, and this is totally awesome. Check out this live shot from a local reporter. This happened at an NBC station in Detroit, doing a story on, of course, a skate park there.
Basically show them exactly what to do. As far as Chandler's skate park, they'll be done in about the next 10 days or so. Victor Williams, Local 4.
Victor, you...
Okay, that is just way too smooth. So, Victor, you easily win the award for coolest news reporter. I'm not even sure it's close. Secondly, yes, he's been doing this most of his life. In fact, I went to his Twitter bio, Jasmine, where he calls himself a reporter and skateboarder. So it's even on his Twitter bio, and it was retweeted by the famous skateboarder, maybe the most famous skateboarder ever, Tony Hawk, where he added all the news that's fit to shred.
What more do you need besides Tony Hawk retweeting you and putting that blue check verified saying how good you are as a skateboarder?
And of course, his profile blew up after that because it got a lot of national attention. Now, Matt Wintz saw this earlier today, and he said, so tomorrow when he does the weather, he's going to shred a little in studio on his skateboard.
Will he really,
We can look forward to that. Yeah, Matt, I'm told, is a wicked skateboarder. Right, Matt?
We saw you run.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way, to our Matt Wintz on a terrific time in this weekend's half marathon. He's humble and he's waving me off, but he ran a terrific race. Congrats. We had 3 members of our Channel 3 staff complete the marathon, so congrats to all. Still ahead at 5:30, the Facebook papers. More critical findings about the social media site are now being revealed. We're going to tell you the very latest content that's being uncovered.
Then, what is America's favorite Halloween candy? The answer is surprising. We'll reveal the fan favorite and Mike Polk Jr.'s thoughts on that coming up next.